So we're going to do a tutorial to make a rag wreath. This is kind of what the finished out article looks like. So starting off, you're going to need a frame. They come in all kinds of different shapes. You can buy them online easy enough. We're going to do a heart one for now. Now you can use any kind of fabrics really. It's best to have a fabric that is the same on both sides as opposed to something that is coloured on one side and white on the other. You can use that, but you get a better effect if you use something that's fairly similar on both sides. So first of all, I'm just going to start off this one using some scraps that I've got. Sometimes I'll do a wreath with just one colour, so you need to make sure you've got enough fabric for the whole wreath. Sometimes I'll do it with two colours, and sometimes I just use whatever I've got lying around and it comes out how it comes out. So you're going to cut your fabric. It's roughly 3.5 centimetres wide and 18 centimetres long, roughly. Now, as you can see from my bits, some of them are a bit shorter, some of them are wider at one end than they are the other. It doesn't have to be exact. As long as they're roughly the same length and roughly the same width, it really doesn't matter. Some of them go in a little bit at the end, some of them are out at the other end. It's fine once they're all thrown in. So you start off with your wreath frame, and what I've done, I've just started to tie bits of fabric on roughly. So it doesn't matter if it's got a bit of a seam in it, we can use anything. So you're just going to wrap it round. You're going to just do a 1 knot tie and pull it. You want to make sure that both ends are roughly the same size, but don't worry if they're not. Don't worry if you get one longer than the other. At the end, you can snip off any bits that are sticking out. So for now, you're just going to go around, and because I'm using these scraps up, I'm just kind of putting these everywhere, spacing them out, and then when I decide which other colours I'm going to use, I'll start to fill the gaps up. But for now, I'm just going to tie them on like that. And at the minute, you don't need to worry about position or anything like that. You're just getting them all tied on for now. Okay, good. So I've tied the pastel check one on now. It's still not looking too fabulous. We've still got lots of space, and while it's like this, it just doesn't really look much. Because I'm doing an Easter themed wreath, I'm thinking it needs a little bit of green. So I found these bits, but I'm thinking that's a bit too green. I'm going to use a bit of this, and I'm going to see if I can find another paler green to go with it. If you decide, you know, if you start tying on and you just think, actually, that's not working, you can just take it off again. There's no right and wrong. Sometimes it's just a case of having a go and see what looks right once it's together. So I'm going to chop this and find another paler green. Okay, stop. So, as you can see, I've just been round. I put the other green in, the bright one, didn't like it, so I took it out again. And what I've done is, just with this kind of pale peachy apricot, I decided just to fill in all of the gaps with that. So you want to kind of push them as far along as you can, and as soon as you know, got a bit of wire left, then, you know, you've got enough of it filled. Once you've done it, what you need to do is you're going to get the knots at the back, and you're just going to push through the tails with your hand to make sure all of the knots are at the back and all of the tails are at the front. It takes a little while. I've already done it with this one, but I'm just kind of showing you for effect. So you're just going to push all of the tails to face the front and just kind of give them a little squeeze with your hand until all of them, and they'll spring back, and you kind of go around again and just make sure that all of the tails are as pushed through as you can, so that you get this nice fluffy front. And then you're just going to get a piece of string or ribbon, tie a knot in the end, and in the center of the heart, just gonna, the center, just gonna slot that through. So So you put the loop through, a bit with the tail, and there you've got your string to hang it with. Just pop that into the centre. And once you've got the string ready to hang it, what you can do is have a look, and if you've got bits that are just really sticking out, some of these green bits here are a bit longer than I'd like, so I'm just going to take the scissors and snip some of the edges, just so that the green bits that are sticking out aren't too big, and it just makes it a little bit more uniform. Some of them I'm just going to leave. It doesn't have to be perfect. Some people like them to be really well shaped. For me, I kind of quite like the messy look, so that's up to you. You can either kind of hang it up and cut round to make it really even, or leave it as it is. Now for this one, I'm going to make this into an Easter wreath. So what you can do, you can get these are some eggs that were on something else, which I'm going to reuse. So what I would do is just with a glue gun, I just kind of arrange the decorations here and there. I've also got some little bunnies which you can buy really cheaply, or you can make your own with oddments, and we're just going to pop those bunnies in like so. And again, I would just use a glue gun to give them a little bit of a glue on the back. And you can take some ribbon, and you just make a few loops with the ribbon. This one's not going to work. It needs to be ironed. And if you wrap some thread or wire around there, and then you can attach that into the bottom of your wreath, and then once it's hung, you've got this really nice fluffy Easter wreath. If you don't want the Easter things on, that's fine. We'll just take them off and leave it as it is. And that is your rag wreath. So have fun. And you can use I've used lots of different types of fabrics, by the way. I've got some quite thick ones, some quite thin ones. I've got a bit of an old cardigan that had a hole in it. So just really have a look, see what's not fit for its original purpose anymore, what colours you quite like together. Different textures look good. Hessian works really well on it. And yeah, have fun.